All right, Greg. I guess my first question for you is that you, the fans for the longest time had an image of the Teen Titans in their heads. Titans, the TV show, at first blush, was not that image. Can you talk to me about this new direction for the Titans?
Well, I mean, look, we had a great deal of respect for the characters and for the fans, and we knew that a lot of the fans had grown up with the Titans series throughout their age. So, there's Teen Titans, Titans Go, all that. So we really felt like for this pay service, we wanted to meet a lot of our fans where they are in their lives. And so a show that dealt with the issues they'd be dealing with. Struggles with darkness, confusion about identity. We felt like those themes would match up well with where the core audience would be in their lives.
In the show, Gotham is sort of a character in and of itself. Was that an intentional to have Gotham as a character?
I mean, Gotham's a kind of a background character, yeah. I mean, we don't spend a lot of time there. And because Dick is kind of in self-exile, moved away from Gotham at this point. But anytime Detroit is a step up from Gotham, it tells you where Gotham is in the world. And I think that Gotham looms large as a place where Dick is trying to escape, but he's taken a lot of Gotham with him. He hasn't really shed Gotham in.
It's a show with the word dark and gritty is thrown around a lot. Do you feel that in the evolution of this first season that we get a little more hopeful as things go on, or is it?
Yeah, I think by episode 3 or 4, I don't think it feels very gritty. It feels dark in terms of exploration of violence, and sometimes photographically it's a little dark, but it doesn't live there. I mean, look, it's a story about people trying to find salvation through their group, through family. That's a struggle in any family, and it doesn't happen overnight. But I think ultimately dealing with darkness and that struggle is really what our show's about.
So we know that Jason Todd pops up at one point in time. Is there a potential that we'll be getting Nightwing at any point?
I think anything's possible.
Anything can happen. I'm here for it.
I mean, look, it's a guy. I don't know what Nightwing means to you. It means something to everybody. But if Dick is struggling with what Robin means to him, and he really struggles with it, I'll tell you that. I'm not giving anything away. Then you have to wonder, what does Nightwing mean to him?
I guess just to piggyback off of that, as far as what Nightwing means, we know it's Dick's final step in separating himself from Bruce. So do we actually see Dick in this season kind of completely separate himself from Bruce, or is it a possibility that he still might kind of lean on him, whether it's for advice at some point? I mean, because he's possibly running a team for the first time ever.
Yeah, well, he has to be a father of the team, which is something he struggles with. I mean, he may be different than I. We all continue to struggle, negotiate our relationship with our parents, psychological, emotional, whether they're present or not, even in their absence. And so I don't think he gets through one season. That would not be where we want to be. I mean, we're trying to lean towards a psychological realism in the show as much as you can, where people shoot fire out of their hands, and it would be not true to those characters if we were just to make it that clean.
Right. Understand.
I love that answer.
That's great.
So, the Titans, at least so far, all seem to be broken people. Is that what brings them together, or is it just circumstance, or why do they coalesce?
Starfire's not, I would not say Starfire's broken. She just doesn't know who she is. And Beast Boy's, I think, an eternal optimist.
I've only seen him for 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Clearly, Raven or, Rachel and Dick are struggling. But it's not everybody sitting around. It's not a navel-gazing show. I mean, it gets up on its feet and moves, and there's a lightness and humor that we saw pieces of in the first 3 episodes, and it gets more prevalent. It's not, we're not Seinfeld. We're not men. But where we do end up is, I think, in a place that's trying to integrate light and darkness.
I'm probably crazy anyway, but did I read a rumor somewhere that there's talk of putting a Superboy clone on this show? Or is that totally...
You might have read a rumor there. There's a rumor out there.
There is a rumor out there, isn't there? That'd be really cool, wouldn't it, if it happened, wouldn't it?
There's so many rumors that would be cool.
Thank you for your clarity.
I hope you don't mind me being...
I like it.
There's a special line in there that's "fuck Batman." How did that get inside the script?
Well, it's funny. In terms of the sausage making of it, it was in a reshoot where we were doing reshooting the alley fight scene, and we were looking at what we could do to enhance that story, that struggle. And I think the only person who could actually write that and get away with it would be Jeff Johns.
Yeah.
And he came up with that idea. And once he did, it seemed we've been talking about that story, Dick, Robin struggle with identity, darkness, and light, Batman, for so long. And once that moment happened and he pitched me on the phone, I was like, yes, that's exactly what it is. It doesn't mean, by the way, it doesn't emancipate him from everything. It's language. But it's an expression of where he is at that time. It's not a final statement. As I said, I hate to repeat it, but it's an ongoing struggle.
The line is also in context of what happens in that scene.
Well, thank you, because that's the thing is it got, I don't blame people for misinterpreting it or not understanding the context of it in the trailer when it first dropped because they didn't have the context. So
right.
But I think the feedback I'm getting is what we intended, which when people saw it in the context of that episode, it made more sense to where his character was, especially the circumstances of actually that moment with the Valley. Yeah, exactly.
I do have a quick question. You chose these 5 Titans for this TV show, and I hate to be that comic book guy, but I'm also curious where Wally West is, Arsenal, Wonder Girl. I'm just curious, how did you pick these guys and not other Titans?
That's a question you really need to ask Jeff and Akiva, because I came on once they had already written that script.
Okay.
I was there when we brought in some of the other characters, Jason Todd, Mark Duff. Those are characters that came up in our world, and then the Doom Patrol, what we have spun off as Doom Patrol. I think. So an Akiva, who is, goes way back, and Jeff with this title, will give you a better idea of what that particular mix is. I have my own opinion, but I didn't write it, so let them say it.
Gotcha. I will say the biggest question that a lot of people have from just the trailer is you see Starfire using her powers, but it's just fire. It's not the little blast, the green blast that we tend to see in the cartoons and stuff like that. So I guess my question is that just her power in the show? Is she can shoot out flames, or will it start to manifest into more of a blast, or is it just fire projection?
I'm trying to think. There's a few there. It's not only that. It's what she's figured out. Starfire is a character who doesn't know who she is.
Right.
Corey does. She's really not even barely Starfire this season.
Right.
She's a woman who's come here for a mission. She doesn't quite know why. So a lot of what she does is just her figuring it out. So I'm not limiting it to her.
Got you, because I just figured it would manifest. It would work its way to where the more she trains and gets to know how to use it, it might then become more what we're used to seeing, rather than just a fire.
It's because I don't come from the genre world. I love when Raven explodes and glass goes all over the place. Those are moments that I find really exciting on screen. Mm-hmm. But a little goes a long way for me in storytelling, because I just don't want to get addicted to the opiate of a power,
right.
and if it eclipses their psychological or emotional story.
What was the process like figuring out what you were going to take from the origin of the Titan story, and then figuring out what you were going to change about it? What was that?
Well, again, that's a Jeff and Akiva question, because they wrote the pilot. I could say in terms of our R&D and what we did for the rest of the season, it was going back in the books and trying to figure out what we really like. Jeff calls it panic for growth. So there's so much good stuff in there. What can we grab? Season 2, I think, is more specific in terms of potentially a linear run, but in terms of stories, just looking at the books. In terms of characters, finding the elements when they made sense. They're not exact transpositions from one character to the next. Probably the closest. I'm out of my league, I have to say. And to me, Dick feels like the one I understand the most in terms of somebody whose story is almost folkloric at this point.
Speaking of Dick Grayson, since obviously the season's not out yet, can you kind of speak to how, because you already said he's struggling with being the father figure of this group. How much is going to freak him out knowing that there's another Robin? Because I don't know if he knew that there was another Robin before he had left Bruce, or was that something that Bruce maybe did after Dick Grayson left, and he was like, I need to fill that void? Is that going to be something that just really sets off Dick Grayson, or do you think he's at peace with it because it's like, well, as long as I'm not Robin?
Well, if I told you, then I'd blow out the episode, so I don't want to tell you. But I'll just say, as a father of 2 sons, I'm deeply imperfect, and I think I share that with Bruce Wayne.
Got you.
Telling us to wrap up and then he ran off.
What's that? I'm sorry?
I said they were telling us to wrap off and then he ran off.
Oh, okay. Oh,
He's back here.
that cop is here.
Sorry.
I have on my desk 2 hats. Somebody gave me, one's good cop and one's bad cop. I just flip them around.